here we are talking to Delfin Vassalo at a very interesting time. There's a lot of startups out there who are looking to scale up, but very few people actually know what's the difference between kind of lead generation, early stage marketing, and what is actually revenue driving marketing in a large company. So we've asked Delfin to come on the show as one of our first speakers, because he has the experience and know-how. He's done it before. He used to be the marketing director of Uponor, responsible for a company that has over $1 billion revenue. He's been at early stage startups before. He knows exactly the pain points that most of the marketing leadership have when they're trying to kind of put together strategies with tight resources. He's also a board member these days. He's a public speaker. He's definitely a revenue leader that goes beyond the traditional scope of marketing. So welcome, Delfin. So excited to talk to you. This is going to be an amazing conversation.
Thank you very much, Larry. Happy to be here, and happy to share whatever insights I may have, which are just coming from, quite a number of years where I have been doing all this thing called marketing. Hopefully it's insightful for everybody.
So let's start with the current state of marketing in B2B marketing specifically. You've worked with scale-ups, you've worked in very complex sales environments. What do you think are the big shifts you're seeing right now, specifically how kind of enterprise buyers are making decisions in today's world?
The number one thing I have realized over the years is when you are selling a complex product, a complex solution, whether it's a physical product or an online, call it SaaS, whatever it is, the higher the price, the higher the number of people are involved. And this is just, the fact of the matter. It's not decision of one person who pulls a credit card and puts it into the browser and off you go. That's it, to buy a few €100 subscription, or maybe €1,000 subscription. When you are talking about more complex products, talking about hundreds of thousands or maybe 1 million, certainly just waking up, Googling something and putting a credit card and go and buying, that's not just how it works. So what I'm referring here is the typical buying committee, which is certainly more than 2, 3, 4, up to 10 people, depending which study you want to believe. McKinsey and Gartner and all these folks out there have done a lot of research about that. But in average, you should impact, or there should be around 5 to 10 people involved in this decision. So it's not just one single one. And out of those 10, how many we as marketers can reach out, can influence, impact with our message? How many of those 10 our sales colleagues are talking in reality? More often than not, it's 2, 3 people. The other 7, 8, they may never be able, because they are in another scope, another places of the company. So that's how these buying committees are, or this way of buying by committee, which is super common in medium and big companies. So that's how it works. So certainly it takes longer time and is much more complex to manage than just a SaaS product that is a few €100 worth.
Yeah, and for me, this kind of buying kind of committee is something that still takes some time to get used to. One early mistake I had as a head of marketing is that I was told that, the economic buyer is a vice president. We're going to go sell to this big company and go reach the vice president. What I didn't know as a very junior marketer was that vice president would never go to your website. That person would actually delegate to their kind of people, and their leadership would actually delegate to someone who could be quite junior, who hits your website to do basic research. Just knowing and understanding that the economic buyer is different from the person who's sitting on your website is a massive game changer, where some people really miss the mark on that. Do you have any experience?
That's exactly, you just nailed, really. When back a few years back, when I was working at Scale-Up, and we had this SaaS product, the initial thought was, our buyer persona is the CIOs, the CTO of the big company. Okay, fine. But does that CIO really will come to our website and start to read our message and crawl and compare the features or the benefits that we have? Of course not. That is a very busy person who has another 25 things on his her mind. As you said, normally it's the second on board or the third on board, the team leader that gets commissioned to, hey, we have this type of problem. We don't know how to solve it. We may need an extra vendor, tool, software, whatever. Finding a solution. And is that team member or that team leader, as you said, that second on board, the one who actually goes, Google's ChatGPTs or whatever it means that person has, to try to find the solution, or try to find what matches on her mind, or on his boss's mind, what matches what he's finding out. Yeah, there you go. Once everything is set up, yeah, they go with the CTO, with the CIO. These are the options. 3 options, 4. If we already look into 20 more, and then he may say, okay, well, let's talk with number 1 and number 3. Why we ended up with only 3 after 20? Why that person chose maybe only 1 and 3? And that is a different topic that we can always also talk later. The brand awareness, or the product awareness, solution awareness. They made it to the short list, and then what? If your brand or your product is not known, and that's a different conversation how to do that, you will not even make it to the short list.
That's right. And I'll tell you, like, I'll date myself a bit here, that like I started doing B2B marketing pretty much 15 years ago, and back then it was so easy. All you needed to do is put a bit of a Google ads up and running, you get people to download an ebook from your website, and basically brand awareness was not something that was talked about. It was all about lead generation. It was all about, how do we get hundreds of people on our website to download something, and we'll figure out who the ones are we're going to want, and then we're going to put them through a sales funnel, and that's it. Machine graded funnels, of people coming through and reaching to the revenue impact. Now, it's been a while since people actually advocate this lead generation, because fundamentally that old system that was around, very popular even 10 years ago, is for many people broken. How do you see do you have a take on how traditional lead generation is going today, and if it's not really working as a growth driver, what do you think is happening in enterprise buying?
One thing that we may need to consider is why we ended up in this lead generation. Why we need to get somebody to give us his email or name in a form, contact form, whatever, so we can reach out or we can send emails. Or why we ended up there, because there was one concrete way of measuring marketing back, as you say, 15 years ago. And it was because obviously that's what the tech martech vendors were pushing. That's it. So that's why we ended up there. Fast forward, the people, the normal consumers already learn that if I am on a website and I put my email there for a newsletter, whatever, what's going to happen next? I'm going to get a lot of spam. Spam as messages from that company, but it's just perceived as spam. Or half an hour later, I will start to get harassed by a salesperson immediately on the phone. Do you want to buy? Want to buy? Like, hey, I am not ready. I was just surfing. I'm getting to know your product, your solution. Yes, you have this ebook, so-called. Okay, I downloaded it, but I am just exploring. I may not be ready to buy. And I guess that this is the core thing why lead generation start to be less effective. Number one, people really do not trust to put their emails or their contact details there, because, well, we marketers have misuse or abuse of that technique. And second, because they are simply not ready to buy. They are just doing their due diligence, their research, etc. So that's why I like to change the approach. This is not just semantics or lead generation to demand generation. Create the demand. Make that person who wants to buy aware that we know which are your pain points or problems. And this is how we propose you to solve them with our product A, product B. This is how our product can help you to solve. But that is the goal of marketing, to send that message in a compelling way with all the technicalities or numbers or etc. that may be behind. So when that person is ready to buy, that person will contact us because they already realize who gave them the best answer, the best solution. Consumers are there, they are not stupid. They know, and of course the B2B buyer, they know who are they dealing with. And if this solution was compelling, I read everything they are doing, I saw their LinkedIn posts, I saw their podcasts, well, they know what they are doing. The solution may be a good fit for what we are looking. And yes, effectively, they are talking about the exact problems that we are facing. So it seems that they know. And that's when they reach out directly. And hotter leap cannot be. But that is, again, we already educated the prospect on what we can do for them. And that's the essence of demand generation.
And this kind of brings me to the question of the biggest misconceptions that many founders, many CEOs, many revenue leaders have, because they kind of assume that 100% of people who are entering the marketing funnel are ready to buy. But that's quite not the same. That's not true. What you're describing is that there's a lot of people who do research, do want to know, but they're not actually in the market, or they don't have those signals that they should be harassed by sales calls. So can you talk to that foundation of demand generation? So you're basically going after the 95% of people who are maybe interested but not ready to buy. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure, you have heard, because there's already have been a lot of research about this. I believe was Edelman together with LinkedIn. This 95-5 rule, where normally only 5% of your total addressable market is in the market to buy now a product similar to yours. But what about the other 95% who are not in the market? They are under the characteristics of your ICP, yes, but they are simply not interested or not looking for anything. And that's where the potential of demand generation comes. When we educate that 95%, addressing their pay points, addressing their situation, their problems, when they are ready to buy, who do you think they are going to come first? And I saw this pretty clear in my last role at Uponor, where we were targeting urban planners, civil engineers. What they do is, okay, they do planning for the cities, etc., but they don't have a project all the time. They have 1 or 2 projects per year of this kind of thing, the ones that my solutions were addressing. And then they have many other type of projects, all kind of variety things, engineering, etc. So we were sending messages all the time. So they were aware of the solutions for water management in cities are the ones that come from Uponor because of A, B, C, D, E, etc. and why they are good. So when after 2, 3, 5 months, 6 months that they have been seeing and consuming our content, they get a project that is related to water management. Who are the first brand? Who's the first brand that they are going to think about? Ours, because we were there already for 6 months, educating them and telling them that we understand their products, we understand their problems, we understand their projects, the challenges that they have. So they to stay top of mind. So when they are ready to buy, they come to us and only to us. And that is the key. We get it not just in the shortlist. More often than not, and I realized that more often than not, there was no shortlist. There was just one winner straight. That's it. Hey, I call you because I know that you know my problems. I know that you are the expert in this, and that. So this is a project. Can you help me? And shoot immediately the project to our pre-sales engineer or solution expert. There was no pre-qualification. There was no email nurture. There was no, and yeah, the deal was almost instantly there. So there you go. That's the beauty of addressing that 95%, and that includes the economical buyer, the technical buyer, all the people around. Yeah, segmenting audiences and etc. That's another type of conversation. But yeah, addressing all those people in the buying committee from the 95% has been super successful for me.
I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 sales leaders, revenue leaders, will accept a lower volume of leads if these are pre-qualified, customers, kind of ideal customers who've done their research and don't have to do all that kind of prepping around there.
So there you, I mean, it's a lead, a qualified lead, however you want. And actually, that has been one of the things that why we use the terms lead or MQL or SQL, because the tech vendors taught us to do that. They impose that. I mean, that's very old. I mean, like from Serious Decision, like 20 years ago, that was actually not really a marketing tactic. But anyway, it was adopted and now it just stuck. So every marketer, we need more MQLs. No, we need more revenue. And every time that I ask any marketer here and there in different companies, big or small, so what is MQL? I get as many definitions as people I asked. So nobody really knows. So that is one of the confusions. And if they don't know it, how can we expect that the sales colleagues, the counterpart in sales, they will know or they will agree with us? That's why I normally, is it a lead? Yes or not? And a lead should have very clear characteristics. Should have purchase intention. Number one, yes, they should have already a project in hands that is suitable for what we sell. And second, is ready to talk to sales, is ready to engage on a sales conversation with our sales colleagues. And of course, needless to say, it has to be on the ICP. It has to fall into the ICP categorization. Those three things or those three characteristics are the ones that I take. If one of these is missing, then it's not a lead. It's not ready.
And that's good because I think the playbook that you describe, where MQLs turn into SQLs, that is basically invented by MarTech providers and so forth. It works really well in scalable, low account value deals where there's a lot of volume and you can kind of put people through the kind of meticulous process. Now, Delfin, you've put a lot of effort and energy into high value deals, like high ACV sales, where that playbook and those tactics don't really work. So before we go into what works, can you tell us some of those tactics that you know that don't work for those 6 and 7 figure solutions that you've been selling?
One, I mean, this may not be, I mean, not because we are taking on the technology specifically, but the famous email nurturing that again came from the MarTech vendors. To be honest, I did it. I used to do it in this scale up where I was a few years back, and I was every week I was delivering two different newsletters or 2 different new cadences targeted to different audiences, and yeah, people were reading them, yes, but you know how many, let alone leads, how many concrete business came out of those newsletters? Zero. Nothing.
Interesting.
Nothing. So this email nurturing drip campaigns. So that's the one thing that I already long time ago I dropped. And second, the this famous automated lead qualification that in your CRM, whatever you use, you can set it up in all of them. I have done many of those. If the person comes to the website, at a point. If the person receives the email and opens, at 5 points. If the person clicks on the email and comes to the page, at 10 points. And so on. If the person doesn't have any activity in 2-3 weeks, rest 10 points. And all that numbers game, and it can get as complicated or as convoluted as you want, really. I invested a lot of time, and at some point I started to realize diminishing returns. Already 2018, 2019, I started to realize that, hey, no matter how much time I invest refining, re-refining the points and the minuses and the plus, this thing, it's maxed out. It doesn't deliver more. And at some point, I just stopped doing it. I completely eliminated automated lead scoring before 2020, before the pandemic, 2019. And guess what? There was no impact whatsoever in the business. So we could just keep doing business and doing the proactive campaigns. And so there you, I mean, there are 2 things that I have seen for my own experience that they just don't work. And when people tell me that they are still doing it, well, okay, fine. But I don't know, how are you measuring the success of that? In my case, they were not really successful anymore.
Yeah, my personal experience that especially with enterprise sales, you can't underestimate the amount of focus people will do to not be kind of put into some sales process. So enterprise buyers can be using Gmail addresses, they can be using their personal kind of small company addresses, all kinds of signals that you can give to really confuse these automated systems on lead quality, because people just don't want, they don't, that's not how people want to be sold to. They don't want to be sold to based on how many times you've been to their website or what kind of newsletters you've been opening. They just really want to understand whether that product is valuable for you or not.
And this is something super crucial, because as the technology evolves, the marketing technology, and of course in general, the purchasing behavior has been evolving as the technology has been also evolving. Yes, a lot. Before, the people was used to go to the yellow pages. If anyone remembers what is that, okay, now they use Google, or maybe not anymore, because now they use any AI tool to search, or to find solutions. So the purchasing behavior certainly has been changing, and that's where markets need to get up to speed. So how do we handle this technology change? The purchasing behavior when researching has been changing a lot, evolving as technology evolves. The decision-making behavior has not changed in millennia, because it's us, it's the same human brain that has been wired in a certain way. So that has not changed. That is, when it comes to the decision making, it's the same. Whether the person came through the yellow pages or through Google or through ChatGPT, etc., the important thing is, what is the message that we are putting there? How are we really making this message to resonate with that ideal customer profile? Do you know who's that one, actually? Have you researched? Have you really deep diving into the pain points, into what that person gets for breakfast, what keeps that person awake in the nights, how can we make that person look good in front of her boss? So I believe that's the core essence of marketing, and how that is directly connected to how do we influence the decision making. And that's where, well, I guess all the rest of things, technology, they may change and they will continue to change, and we need to keep pace with that, yes, but focus on the person, on the buyer, and the decision-making process that person has.
Absolutely. One thing I have a strong opinion about is that you can't get that messaging right if you don't have the positioning right. If you don't have that understanding of who you're talking to and what is your position in the market that makes them understand what you're good at and what your value comes from. So let's talk about this positioning talk right now. Now, you've said in some of your conversations that positioning is the first responsibility for a senior marketer. Explain what you mean by that.
The core of what makes our product unique, we need to know that very clear as marketers. When we talk about technical products, engineering products, well, we are marketers. We are not software developers. We are marketers. We are not PhDs in chemical things or in engineering. No. So we need to go to the subject matter expert. Who is that, or who are those subject matter experts in your company? And in terms of technical products, of course, they are the people who can give us all the insights about the product, why the product is good, and that is one aspect. And the second is, who are we targeting? How are we defining our ICP? At the crossroad of those two things is where marketers need to act. The engineers may dream everything they like, but if what they are delivering doesn't match with a clear need from the customer, from the buyer, or a pain point, of course, there's a mismatch. That's where the marketing needs to be. And this specific task of, I was going to say reconciliating, but maybe that's not the word, of putting together or sitting together R&D or the engineers or the product managers, sales, Super important to have sales at the table, sitting together. Okay, this is our product. This is why our product is good. All the list of features. Putting a list of features is not just is not enough. Why those features are unique, and that's the process that I always follow. List of unique features. If a feature is not unique because a competitor have it, let's just put it apart. We are not ignoring it, just put it apart. For the purpose of positioning, we are not going to take into account that. Once we have that list of features, we can group them. These 3 features are talking or are related to security. These other 3 are related to ease of user experience. These all are about, and that's how you get the list of benefits. And from the list of benefits, we can jump into the clear positioning phrase or value proposition that should resonate, of course, with that ICP. I do this it's a joint exercise together with sales, together with product management, together with all the engineers. So number 1, we all agree who are we talking to. We all agree what's going to be the message that we are going to deliver. And if we involve all those people, including our sales colleagues, when afterwards I produce the presentation, the video, the ads, the infographic, whatever, based on that conversation, based on that document, because I issue a document, nobody's going to criticize or oppose to my marketing materials, because nobody opposes to a decision that they were part of. So that is the double thing. And this in-house job, that's the core of what a marketer or a senior marketer should be doing. And that, in my opinion, is very hard to outsource that inside knowledge, that in-house knowledge, that is very hard that any external consultant may come. Not impossible, I guess, but it's very hard that they can come and really do this job. They can coach you in the methodology, how to do it, but I guess it's the duty of the internal marketer to leave or to facilitate that conversation, and so that ends up in the right value proposition wording or the right positioning. So yeah, and that's, if we don't get this right, this position, this value proposition that resonates, if we don't get it right, all the rest of things, campaigns on Facebook and LinkedIn are worthless, totally worthless. All the money that you will throw there, it's not worth, because you don't have the basic thing in place.
So coach me a bit on this problem, because kind of to have a revenue impact and actually have that meaningful alignment between sales and product on positioning, marketing, you can't be a dictator. You can't be a kind of a nice to go coach, like telling people how great they are. You have to be somewhere in between. So tell me about kind of how do you actually achieve that alignment between sales and product, where sometimes they might have very different views of what the benefits are. How do you make sure that everyone's on your team?
It is certainly not an easy task, because you are kind of in the middle. And the first thing as marketing or a senior marketer, you need to bear in mind is that you are not, how to say, you don't have the absolute truth. You have to be much more humble. I am here to facilitate the conversation, not to dictate the conversation. So that is the one important thing. We are going to come together to define all these things. And one key element here is that you have the buy-in from above. Whoever is the senior leader in your company, call it VP or CEO or founder, whatever, that they are on board with this approach. Pretty hard. I will find pretty hard that they are not on board of this, but we are going to do this job collaboratively, because it's in the interest of everybody. And for you, CEO, we are going to do this in order to have a much better message out there that will end up in better sales and better revenue. So that's the conversation actually to have with the CEO. And so the CEO will kind of push, if you want, or will encourage the rest of the teams. Hey, you need to get together with marketing and get this thing done. Change comes from the top. That's just how it works in every company. If you have, as a marketing person, you have not earned the respect of the CEO, well, it's much more difficult that you will earn the respect from your peers. Yeah, after that, we may take several rounds of beers with sales. Yeah, that's another thing, because it's the human contact, it's the human connection that we may have with all those all the teams that we are working. Yeah, go sit with the product manager, go sit with the developer. What are you doing? Ask questions in a humble way. Yeah, I want to learn from you. That is, nobody will say no to that. Hey, teaching how to do this, why you are putting this here, why you are doing that in this other way. And yeah, getting close to them. So we are buddies, we are in the same team. Me as marketing, I am here to help you look good in front of your customers for sales. I'm here to make you look good in front of whatever the engineers, senior engineers. So that's my role. And once you have that, build that report with all those, that variety of areas, then you may be in a better place to really have this open conversation about positioning, messaging, benefits, which sometimes not sometimes, many times, is not easy. It is a tough conversation to define who are we selling, to define why we are selling this feature or this benefit and not the other one. But it should be an ongoing work.
So tell me, for a lot of marketers who are like coming into B2B sales, they might come across this culture shift where many people see marketing as a support service and sales as the revenue driver. So like, how do you, like, as someone who's done it before, as a revenue driving marketing leader, how do you shift the internal conversation with sales that you're not a support, activity, you're actually driving business outcomes?
What I have done is pretty much, it comes down to how do you present yourself. Where I have been, well, in my last role, we had salespeople or representatives in many countries, where I started to go around the table, if you want, talking with the country managers of all those offices. They see marketing, as you say, as support function, the people who make the PowerPoint presentation, the people who do the brochures, the people who, you have some videos on something called YouTube, visit that, or the website. Okay, yeah, you take care of the website, because and the photos, they look pretty, and the colors, and that's it. When I started those meetings, that's how they started. So they asked me, okay, are we doing a campaign on Facebook? Hey, yes, we may do a campaign on XYZ. Don't worry, that I will take care of that. This is my job. You don't need to worry about Google's videos campaigns. Me and my team will get that done. What I want to talk with you is, how do we move the business forward? Where do you see the opportunities in the next 3-6 months in your market? Is this type of project the one that we want to go after? The projects or the opportunities that I can see in the CRM that you are dealing with are this type of opportunities with this level of, or this amount of money, the profit, the gross profit. So how can we get more of those? And it's starting a business conversation, not a marketing conversation. And at the beginning, they were like, well, okay, yeah. Don't worry about the Facebook. I will do it. Don't worry about the SEO. I will do it. That's it. How can I support you to move those deals forward? How can I support you to, in that big presentation that you have? How can I support you to that other prospective customer that you have been knocking the door, that they don't open, or they don't pick up the phone, or maybe they did and they now went silent? How can I support you so you can do your job, your sales job? And that, from that point, it completely changed the dynamic or the relationship that we had. I never spoke again about website visitors, conversions, campaigns, never again with them. It was all about this, and I have a slide per country and per solution, Yes, your website, your country website has this performance, but there were a couple of charts there. But in the right-hand side, there was, these are the accounts that we have been reaching out with our message. These are the behavior. These are the ones who are responding. And these are the deals that are cooking, according to your CRM, they are cooking at the moment. Can we sit and discuss those ones? Are these accounts that we previously agreed with, are the correct ones still? Do you want to remove one? Do you want to add a new one? How do you see the deals going with this account, with that account, with this? And that changed completely the conversation with them, moving it from marketing conversation to a business conversation. And so far, that's how it has been super fruitful for me.
And that's a revolutionary shift for most sales organizations, and it's going to require some kind of culture change within marketing and sales as well. I suggest let's take a moment to get back to the next topic of attribution, because it's kind of a you're on fire here, so I want to make sure that we kind of keep the momentum going. Go to the meat of the action. What are the concrete actions we're talking about for revenue driving CMOs? So imagine, Delfin, that you join the mid-sized B2B tech company tomorrow. What are the 5 things you'd be bringing in to impact revenue growth in this kind of new operating model?
5 things. I don't know if I have 5 or less or more. You may be immediately thinking about, let's optimize the campaigns. Let's look at the keywords. Those are the operational things. The first thing I would do when joining any new organization is connect with the people. As a marketing person, as a marketing leader, connect with product management, connect with the engineers, connect with sales. Super important. We need to be buddies with sales. Connect with them, understand what they are doing and why they are understanding it. So internally, they are my ICP. They are my customer internally. Second, ask all these people what is working, what is not working, why on their minds this is working and this is not working. You may get an array of answers, of course, and a lot of advice. Of course, we should do this, we should do that campaign. Yes, just receive all those things. Connect with people, ask what's working, what's not working. Third, with the business leaders, what's the situation of the business? What are the business objectives? Business objectives. What are the revenue goals? What is the sales cycle? How does it look like? What's our ACV? Are we really closing business with the targets that we intended to do it 3 months ago, 6 months ago? Having this business overview, because from that business overview, from that business objectives, I will infer the marketing objectives. So you tell me where do we want to take the business, and I will do my marketing part to support that. 3, 4, the conversation that we had before. What is our position? What is our messaging? More often than not, I've seen that they are just addressing, or they are wording in the wrong way the message, or the message is way too convoluted. The ICP just simply doesn't understand what you do, what you sell, or why you are good for me. Reviewing that positioning, and I guess 5 or based on that, let's start experimenting on things. Let's go and look at the deals that are about to close. What do we need to do to close those ones in the next 90 days to show that marketing effectively is impacting the revenue? They may already have been, those deals are already in, yes, but they are just stopped there. How can we speed up, and how can we clean or close those deals? So yeah, connect with the people, ask what is working, what is not working, business overview, what are the business objectives, review the positioning or messaging, and start experimenting. There you are, 5.
Delfin, you know what's really important about that message? Not one of them was all about costs and how much marketing is going to add to expenses. Because if you actually focus on that approach that you have, and start with the business objectives and aligning with the key stakeholders, then you're building for investment. You're not building for, oh, I need a new website, I need a new brand, all these kind of things that a lot of marketers always think about what's in front of them, how can they go out and spend budget. But you're actually taking this from a very different perspective.
Yes, it's okay. Budget is always important because we need, yes, nothing in life is free and marketing is. We need certain amount of money based on the business objective. Based on the business objective and based on the revenue that we want to get. There was this research, actually it was from BML, this research amongst business leaders asking what is the percentage assigned to marketing. And it was super interesting. At least in Finland, we are heavily under investing in marketing, where in other Nordic countries, in Sweden and rest of Europe, is something around 7, 8, 10% of the total revenue of reinvested in marketing. If you want to achieve certain level of revenue based on our conversion, our hit rate, if we want to, I don't know, get 30K this year and we hit 30% hit rate, then we need 90. We need a pipeline of 90K. That's what we need. So the amount of money that I have for marketing will target that 90K to get that 90K in the pipeline. So in the end, we'll end up in 30. So, but that's the reasoning or the reasoning you can get to pitch your money, to get your marketing money.
And to be honest, that's pipeline focus is exactly what you should be doing. But like you said, there's always going to be kind of investments in marketing are always going to be difficult to attribute. It's going to be really difficult to align what exactly you're doing in terms of brand awareness and building up kind of the new messaging framework into those closed deals. So can you talk about this attribution trap in especially in enterprise sales, long sales cycles? Is there anything that you've learned from that hopefully people can avoid?
Yes, that is. And again, because it's very easy, or it used to be, the technology allow us to track from end to end. Was this app, this blog post, or this video? We all know that. We can track it back. First touch attribution, last touch attribution. Was this the one who actually made the deal happen? Who knows? It's very, very difficult. And to be honest, who cares if it was this blog post or that blog post or that video? Overall, in high ticket B2B deals, it turns to be not one. Is not one element or not one asset. Is the compound effect of all the things that you have been doing. All the blogs, plus all the videos, plus all the activity on LinkedIn, plus all the presentations, plus all the good things that you are putting on the website, the FAQs, etc. All that work together to educate the potential ICP and the potential buyer, so they conclude that yes, this is your solution or your product is the one that I want, the one that I need. Getting or attributing to one single piece of content, to be honest, to me is kind of delusional. To be honest, is the compound effect. And again, if in all those pieces, marketing pieces, we have consistency, the same message, the same value proposition, the same in different ways, but if we have this consistency, that's what is going to get you to the final line.
So fundamentally, there's massive shift that the last click attribution model out in both sales and marketing doesn't really work as it used to do. People are no longer clicking. People are no longer clicking on links on Google. They're not clicking necessarily on ebook downloads. They're not clicking on emails that you sent them and so forth. So if we're heading towards this zero-click world where you can't trust the value of this last click that ended up in an MQL, what do you think revenue leaders should be measuring? Is there something else that you think is a better approach to this?
Marketing is here to drive business, to contribute to the revenue. That's it. If it is, we can prove, which sometimes is not that easy, that certain opportunity or certain deal came as a result of a marketing action. Okay, better. If we cannot prove that over time, on overall, when it comes to higher ticket value deals and long sales cycles, and I mean long sales cycle longer than 1 year, one fiscal year, which is, it's very difficult to prove. But that's when revenue should be one, definitely. Are we contributing? Since we started all our marketing activities, has the revenue gone up? consistently, or if we are not expecting a hockey stick, but consistently, yes or no? Second, if we have a very long sales cycle, we may not have closed this, but how the pipeline looks like. Has the pipeline going, has been increasing with the right type of ICP? Yes or no? So those are the two things that I guess we can take a look at, like a leading indicator, the pipeline growth, and of course the revenue. Those are the two things that we need to look. Now, the next level down, how do we get the people to see our message, to consume our message, our video, okay, that's the whole part of performance marketing. To educate the person, the potential buyer, on what or why they should choose our brand whenever they are ready to buy. And when they are ready to buy, how are they going to find us? Whether they Google us or they ChatGPT us. And that's where, of course, it's super important that we are there. If they just go, as many of us do now, grab this small thing that we have in our hands, this microcomputer, and go to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, whatever is your AI tool of preference, and put what tool can be suitable for this or that, or what to solve this problem. Of course, those, whether it's Google or AI, they should be aware of our solution. They are not going to click there and go, moreover, but at least it's just, let's take it as one more stakeholder in the buying committee. I would say, yes, that could be a good. The AI tools, the generative AI tools, is just one more stakeholder in this buying committee that we should make them aware that we exist and we should show up. Of course, that's why it's super important that we show up not only in Google, but we show up also in all those AI tools. Not because they are going to click on that, but because they reinforce our message. They make consume, they leave it there. 2-3 days later, they will just go straight to our website, or again, just Google it, because that's the path to get to our website. But not because it's not that we can attribute directly to SEO. It's just the path that the people took if they don't remember our website and how to contact us or find our phone number or contact us form. That's the next level. And yes, all those things are super important to really capture the demand. Capture the demand that we already created with all the other campaigns.
I think you raised a lot of important points. And I think for the revenue leaders who are actually thinking about marketing's role where AI is disrupting things, one thing I think people should continue to remember is that people actually don't want long and convoluted B2B sales cycles. Anything that removes friction from the buyer and from them getting answers is probably something that the sales and marketing people should be thinking about, because the buyers don't want to be stuck in demos. They don't want to be stuck in ebooks and these calls late at night when they're not ready to buy. So maybe one final question for you. Is there any kind of final, for the listeners here who are revenue leaders in B2B tech, is there any mind shift you would give them as AI is increasingly taking a role in the buying journey? What's your take that's going to be changing in the next 5 years?
AI can empower us or empower the leaders to do more at operational level in terms of marketing. It can help us to put our message out, certainly, but in the end, who decides? Who makes the decision of choosing this tool or this product versus that product? In the end, is a person who will sign the check. As far as I know, AI cannot sign a check, approve an invoice to get paid to you. Is the person who we need to, our buyer who we need to convince to fully get that person on board to buy our product. It's getting all these AI tools to empower the human decision. I would say that is the thing that they need to bear in mind. The AI tools, whatever they are, for whatever purpose, they are just to empower ourselves, empower the human decision. What happens in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Well, let's see how this thing is moving. But at this pace, I highly doubt that a machine or an algorithm in this country, in Europe, in Finland, in Europe, will make a purchase decision anytime soon. We will see what happens, yeah, but at least for now, for your 2026 fiscal year, and for the next 5 years, I'm sure, focus on the human behavior, on the human buyer. Use all the AI tools, but focus on that human buyer.